Hello everyone, I welcome you all to yet another session of DSCJ Teleclasses, a digital initiative by Directorate of School Education Jammu. Our today's session is for the students of class 10th. The subject is English and our today's topic is poetry. So let's begin our today's session. Children, do you like winter season? Yes, there might be many of you who love winter season. Can you tell me what do you love about winters? There are many things that we enjoy during winter season. Can you mention some of the things? Yes. First and foremost, the snowfall. We all love snowfall. We all want to enjoy snowfall. We look for opportunities that we can go out in winters and enjoy snowfall. Then we have, yes, playing with snow. We all enjoy playing in snow, playing with snow, making snowballs, throwing snowballs at each other. Yes, we love to play with snowballs. And then we have warm clothes. Yes, we enjoy warm clothes in winters. And last but not the least, sitting near a fireplace, having one of our favorite drinks, maybe a cup of tea or maybe a cup of coffee with delicious eatables. So these are certain things that we enjoy during winter season. Children, can you think of any possible way that proves that winters are cruel? Yeah, I know, you must be a little surprised. How can a season be cruel? Children, today we are going to read a wonderful poem. The title of this poem is Snowdrop. And this poem is written by the great poet Ted Hughes. So before we go into the details of this poem, let's first recite and enjoy this poem. Now is the globe shrunk tight, around the mouse dulled wintering heart. Weasel and crow, as if molded in brass, move through an outer darkness, not in their right minds with the other deaths. She too pursues her ends, brutal as the stars of this month, her pale head heavy as metal. I hope you enjoyed reciting this poem. Children, before we study the poem Snowdrop in detail, let's meet the poet of the poem Snowdrop. The poem Snowdrop is written by Ted Hughes. You can see the picture of the poet Ted Hughes on your TV screens. Edward James Hughes, or Ted Hughes, was born in 1930 in the West Riding region of Yorkshire. His father, William James, participated in World War I, and he often narrated the incidents of World War to Ted Hughes. His accounts of World War made a permanent impression on the young mind and memory of Ted Hughes. Later, we can see that how in his poetry there was a reflection of the cruelty of war, death, and nature. Hughes was born in a rural area, and because of that, he developed a special love for animals and birds. His interest in animals and other creatures, dating from his childhood, remained with him throughout his life. We can often see the mention of these creatures in his poetry. He was married to Sylvia Plath, a famous poet, whose collected works include The Hawk in the Rain, Lupercal, Crow, and Moot Towns. Before we read the poem Snowdrop in detail, let's know what snowdrop is. Snowdrops are white-colored flowers. They do not even wait for the snow to melt before emerging. As they are of pale white color, they symbolize innocence and purity. These flowers bloom at the end of winter and at the beginning of spring, and so they also symbolize hope. Now let's study the poem Snowdrop by Ted Hughes in detail. Now is the globe shrunk tight, round the mouse dulled wintering heart. Let's first go through the new words at a glance. The word shrunk. The word shrunk means become smaller in size. Then we have the word dulled. The word dulled means boring, something that is not exciting, something that is not full of life. In these opening lines of the poem Snowdrop by Edward Hughes, the poet portrays chilly winter season. The poet says, globe, the planet Earth, has shrunk tight owing to the freezing cold. The poet looked in pity at a mouse for its plight. The toughness of the weather has dulled the functioning of the mouse heart. The poor animal has gone into hibernation with the reduced heartbeat. Wintering heart here means a heart that is not full of life. It is because of the extreme weather conditions. The heartbeat of the mouse has reduced. Weasel and crow, as if molded in brass, move through an outer darkness, not in their right minds with the other deaths. Let's go through the new words first. Weasel. Weasel is a wild animal. You can see a weasel in this picture. Then we have the word molded. The word molded means to make something into a particular shape, to give shape to something. Further, the poet in these lines says that the cold has curtailed the movement of active and brisk creatures. The plight of weasel and crow is no different owing to the brutal cold. The crows, which are free to fly anywhere, are also restricted by the cold weather. And the weasel, they also remain dormant. They appear as if they are molded into the statues of brass. They have become immobile. The harsh cold weather has made them immobile. Even if these creatures try to move out in order to find their prey, it appears as if the days are converted into nights because it is dark and gloomy, even during the day, as there is no sun. These creatures can hardly roam around in the open because of the cold winter. Everything seems to be still. Everything seems to be lifeless. Moreover, these creatures try to return their places quickly due to the threat of death. Due to the freezing cold, these poor animals are not in their right minds. They are experiencing the hardships that are caused to them due to extreme weather conditions. They can't think what to do or where to find any shelter. They see other creatures dying of cold and many others at the verge of death. They are fearful that the same thing could happen to them. On seeing the hardships being faced by other animals, they fear. They fear that they might experience the same thing. They might die. Let's move further. She too pursues her ends, brutal as the stars of this month, her pale head heavy as metal. Let's go through the new words first. The word pursue. The word pursue means follow or chase. Then we have the word brutal. The word brutal means unpleasant or harsh. In these lines, the poet shifts his attention towards the little but strong flower as it blooms in such harsh weather and cuts its way open through the frosty earth. He addresses the flower as she because this flower possesses the ability to bloom even in chilly weather. The flower, Snowdrop, appears to possess exceptional powers of survival, and to the poet it is the symbol of the survival of the fittest in nature. In spite of the cold, harsh weather, the snowdrop continues to achieve its goals. Its goal to bloom. It pushes up its stem through the thick, hard layers of snow and blooms. It blooms in a beautiful way, like the stars of winter season, which shine without any consideration of cold and dull weather. But they don't have any charm. They don't have any charm and hence arouse no emotions in the beholder's heart. They appear to be unpleasant. The snowdrop blooms with its drooping flowers, which looks like as if its small pale head is made of metal. The snowdrop too fails to arouse any emotions in beholder. This may be because of the cold, unpleasant weather. Though the snowdrop appears to be very heavy, as if made up of some heavy metal, it is able to withstand the intense cold when others fail to do so. Children, Ted Hughes presents the harsh and cruel image of nature. Nature has long been appreciated for its beauty and glamour. But in this particular poem, that is Snowdrop by Ted Hughes, the poet creates an atmosphere of hard and harsh winter and uses images from nature to convey the toughness and brutality that cold winter brings. Snowdrop is a fine winter poem written in just 8 lines which don't rhyme. For Ted Hughes, nature is a theatre of hardships and brutality, and the theme that prevails in most of his poetry is survival. The snowdrop thrives and survives even while the mouse is hibernating deep in the earth, the same earth which fosters the growth of the flower. Now let's discuss the theme of the poem Snowdrop. Children, the theme of the poem Snowdrop is that life is full of struggles and hardships. We people face struggles, we people face hardships on daily basis. And the person who is capable of tackling these hindrances and these hardships and these struggles with strong determination and courage is going to come out as a successful and brave human being. Nature also uses various processes to teach we human beings the lesson of success that is determined with strong determination and positive approach. For example, snowdrops, the beautiful, delicate flowers which are small, they bloom in harsh and severe winter and cut its way open through the frosty earth. Now let's discuss the tone of the poem. The tone of this poem is very harsh and really cold. Words like wintering and brutal make the poem seem harsh and unforgiving, much like nature. Now let's discuss the literary devices used in this poem. But before that, let's understand what are literary devices. Children, literary devices are the techniques that are used by poets, writers to express their ideas in a better way. These devices, these techniques help poets, writers to enhance their writing. Literary devices are used to highlight certain important concepts in a piece of writing, whether poetry, prose, or stories. They also help to strengthen the narrative. And above all, the literary devices, they help to build a connection between the readers and the characters and themes of a piece of writing. Some commonly used literary devices as far as poetry is concerned are simile, metaphor, alliteration, personification, imagery, repetition, and so on. Now let's discuss some of the literary devices that Ted Hughes has used in his poem Snowdrop. Ted Hughes in Snowdrop has used the following literary devices: imagery, simile, and alliteration. Now let's discuss them one by one. So the first literary device that Ted Hughes has used in the poem Snowdrop is imagery. What imagery is? Imagery is the name given to a literary device that sparks off the senses of the readers. Despite the fact that image is a synonym of the word picture, images need not to be visual only. Any piece of literature that appeals to any of your senses, whether it is sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell, is a fine example of imagery. In this particular poem Snowdrop, the poet has made use of visual imagery. He has used imagery that appeals to the sense of sight of the readers. Visual imagery describes what we see, images directly experienced through the narrator's eyes. For example, the night was black as ever, but bright stars lit up the sky. As soon as we read this line, the scene of night with sky lit with stars come in front of our eyes. We are able to imagine this scene. So we can say this is a fine example of visual imagery. Now let's discuss some images from the poem Snowdrop. In the poem Snowdrop, the following images have been used by the poet. To express nature, the poet has used the images of mouse, weasel, crow, and the flower snowdrop. To represent universe, he has made use of the images of globe, outer darkness, and stars. And to represent metal, he has used the image of brass. Next literary device that Ted Hughes has used in the poem Snowdrop is simile. What is a simile? A simile is a figure of speech that compares two different things in a very interesting way with the help of the words like or as. So simile is used to make comparison between two different things. The purpose of a simile is to spark an interesting connection between readers and the written piece of literature. A simile is one of the most common forms of figurative language. And children, you can find examples of simile around you, anywhere in your surrounding, from poems to song lyrics and even in everyday conversations. Look at these examples of similes. My love for you is as deep as the ocean. So love is compared, the depth of the love is compared to the depth of the ocean with the help of the word as. Let's look at the next Example, I am so thirsty that my throat is as dry as the Sahara Desert. So, the dryness of the throat is compared to the dryness of the Sahara Desert. So, these are the examples of simile. Now, we will discuss the examples of simile from the poem Snowdrop. Weasel and crow as if molded in brass. This simile expresses the brutality of winter. The bitter cold has restricted the movement of a weasel and a crow. They have lost their usual sportiveness. They are frozen with cold. This frozen stillness of a weasel and a crow has been compared to brass. The another example of simile from the poem Snowdrop is, she too pursues her ends, brutal as the stars of this month. Here in this line, the flower snowdrop is compared to stars of winter season. And now we have the literary device alliteration. The poet Ted Hughes has made use of alliteration in the poem Snowdrop. So what alliteration is? Alliteration is a literary device in which a series of words begin with the same consonant sound. It is used to emphasize something important that a writer or speaker would like to express. We can have a better idea of what alliteration is from the following example. These are lines from the famous poem, The Rime of Ancient Mariner. The fair breeze blew, the white foam flew, the furrow followed free. Look at the first part of the sentence or the line. Fair breeze blew, breeze blew. The consonant sound b, breeze blew is repeated. Then in the next part of the line, foam flew. The consonant sound f is repeated. And in the next line, furrow followed free. Again, the consonant sound f is repeated. So, this repetition of the consonant sounds is known as alliteration. They add lyrics to any piece of writing. Her pale head, heavy as metal, is a wonderful example of alliteration from the poem Snowdrop. Here in this line, the sound of consonant H, that is the her sound, is repeated. So we can say it's an example of alliteration. Children, by this time we have almost discussed all the aspects of this poem Snowdrop. We recited the poem. We studied the poem in detail. We discussed the new words that we confronted in this poem. We discussed the theme of the poem. We even discussed the tone of the poem. And we even discussed all the literary devices used in this poem in quite detail. Now let's see how much we have understood this poem. And to check our understanding, we will discuss some questions. So the first question is, how has nature shrunk the globe? Nature has shrunk the globe by enclosing it in a blanket of severe and harsh winter. This severe and harsh winter has restricted all the creatures to their dwelling places. They are no more free to roam around, and they feel the earth to be small and limited for them. In this way, the nature has shrunk the globe. The second question is, what has dulled the mouse heart? Very correct. The extreme weather conditions, the harsh winter, the chilly winter, it has dulled and deactivated the mouse heart. Now the third question, what sufferings do the animals undergo in the poem? See, in this poem Snowdrop, the animals undergo a lot of sufferings. First of all, they have to suffer a lot due to winter season. Their movements are curtailed. They are not free to move. Everything appears to be dull, gloomy, and dark. Even the days, they seem similar to nights, and it has become really difficult for them to hunt for prey. Overall, we can say winter has created a havoc in the life of all the creatures. The next question is, her pale head heavy as metal. Explain this line. See, the snowdrop is a small drooping flower which erupts out of the earth's surface and bends down as if its dull head is made of hard metal. Next, we have a question based on the comprehension. Read the extract and answer the following questions. So let's first read the extract. With the other deaths, she too pursues her ends. Brutal as the stars of this month, her pale head heavy as metal. The first question here is, what does she refer to? Yes, in this stanza, she refers to the flower snowdrop. The second question is, what has led to the death of many animals? Yes, the extreme cold weather, the chilly weather, the harsh winters has led to the death of many animals. The third question here is, mention the literary device used in this stanza. In this stanza, in the last line, the poet has made use of the literary device alliteration. We can see the consonant sound H has been repeated here in the last line. Dear children, your textbook suggests some more poems for your extra reading. Let's see what poems the textbook suggests. The first poem is Terror of Death by John Keats. The second is Ode to the West Wind by P.B. Shelley. And the third is After Apple Picking by Robert Frost. Children, all these three poems are definitely going to enrich your literature taste. I hope you will find out, you will search these poems on net and definitely read these poems. Before we close for today's session, let's once again recite this poem and enjoy this poem. Snowdrop by Ted Hughes. Now is the globe shrunk tide, round the mouse dulled wintering heart. Weasel and crow as if molded in brass, move through an outer darkness, not in their right minds, with other deaths. She too pursues her ends, brutal as the stars of this month, her pale head heavy as metal. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Till we meet next, take good care of yourself. Thank you.